Good morning, this is Ace News and I'm Stephen Ewell. We're going to do our lovely Cold War interviews with the world powers. And starting us off is the glorious, horrible dictator, Joseph Stalin. Alright, now the first question pertaining to the Cold War is, do you think that you could have been more cooperative with the other world leaders?
The real question is, could they have been more cooperative with me? As Russia, I fought the entire war. I was the one who started off with the war. Well, mainly Britain did start off with the war with us, but they didn't fight as hard as we did. Germany attacked us directly, and therefore we had to respond back with many of our people. A whole lot of our people were lost, many compared to what the United States, just a fraction, a very small fraction of their people was lost. And we felt we deserved a bigger slice of the pie because we lost more people than any other country did that actually fought in the war.
But the question still is, could you have been more cooperative?
I felt I was cooperative. I gave them everything I wanted. I was straightforward. I felt what we needed from them was true control over what would happen to Germany, who could eventually attack us for the third time again. We needed to put a stamp on them and make sure we had them under control, under Russia's control. Therefore, we could make sure that our interests were needed just as America will want their interests met as well.
Going into other countries and what they needed, how did you think a reunified Germany would affect the capitalist powers and the USSR?
The capitalist powers would therefore gain a huge industrial power in Germany, as they did start off the war and they were very industrialized coming into the war. That's why they were so well equipped to fight. And if the US plus Britain had their capitalist clause on what was left of Germany post-war, then they could have caused terrible things to happen to the USSR. We would have another enemy that was strong enough to take us down this time, instead with an economy much stronger than it was before.
But the thing is, a reunified Germany would help out all of Europe. It was the industrial heart of Europe. It could bring back Europe because the war decimated it. And it could help everyone, including Russia.
Not really, because what destroyed Europe in the first place? Germany. Therefore, why would a weapon of mass destruction be used as a weapon of world peace? It doesn't make sense, and therefore, that's why Russia needed to put a stamp on this, because they, as Germans, did not know what it meant to lose as many people as we did, because they did lose people, because those people tried to go against the world order and tried to destroy something in Europe that was great and powerful.
Many people would say you're going against the world order.
The world order was defined by something else other that was to keep Russia out, because we weren't recognized by any of the world leaders as a true country until now, until we lost so many people and had to fight most of World War II.
That leads us into our next question. What did you think Truman's policy toward the USSR would be after World War II?
Well, in the many conferences the world powers have had, and we met up, me, Churchill, and Roosevelt mainly discussed, not too specifically, but we discussed briefly over what would happen to Europe post-war, and we believe that Truman would come in with the same foundation as Roosevelt, and that he would recognize that the USSR deserved what we wanted, and Roosevelt saw this as a noble person, and he saw that we deserved what we needed from this war, as we had lost a lot, and that he would still get what he wanted. But Truman came in with a different mindset that was just completely battling what the USSR was originally thinking of what would happen post-war.
Well, his policies were to ensure the safety of his own nation. Would your policies be any different, and that of it's ensuring the safety and protection and prosperity of its own people?
Well, that depends. He didn't have any dangers coming to his nation, as Europe only flew a plane into a city. As to us, 13 million people were killed. Our farms were decimated. We had to take what was in Germany back to our homes just so we could rebuild. America didn't have to rebuild. They only wanted to build in other places to make themselves stronger.
You keep going back to how much you lost in the due course of this war, but you weren't the only one hurt. You may have been the one who lost the most lives, but other countries lost many things. Poland and so many people were murdered by the Germans, including own German citizens. You have this belief that you deserve more. What would you say to those other people who also deserve a piece of that pie?
Well, the thing is, our plans were for us as the world powers to take control and help aid these other countries. So by helping me, and I would have control and further aid these other countries that had also lost, because they lost just as we did. And with our control, they would understand from the same platform that we lost a lot, so did they. As to those who lost many and to those who lost the few, those who lost the few would not understand what those other countries like Poland, as you were saying, and Germany, as you were saying, wouldn't understand. And therefore, with us gaining what we needed, we could help those that we were aiding as well.
So you're saying that you wanted to aid other countries.
Yes, you could put it that way.
Well, that's all the time we have for this interview. I want to thank you, Joseph Stalin, for coming in and giving your side of the story.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with our next guest. Welcome back with Ace News. We have Winston Churchill,
Hello.
Prime Minister of Great Britain for a long time. All right, so we're going over the Cold War, and you were an instrument and key player in this. Now, we're going over our first question. What did you think would happen if the U.S. or the USSR found out about the side deals you were making with them?
In a world today where every nation is for themselves, I don't think it should be as much of a problem for me trying to look out for the benefit of my own country before looking out for everyone else's. Whereas I'm almost 100% sure that the US and the USSR also have side deals in case I decide to do something. So in a world where this happens, it's normal.
So you're justifying it that since everyone else is doing it, why shouldn't I?
I have to look out for my country.
I see. Brilliant tactics as a world leader. Not as a good person, I'd say, but doing what's best for your country. I understand that. Now, moving on to our second question. Why did you make your infamous Iron Curtain speech in the United States?
At the time, I wasn't prime minister. I was invited out into America, and I had to make a speech, and I figured it was the right time to spark a movement that would bring the two nations together. Without having the U.S. as our backup, or without the U.S. having us as a backup, the Cold War would not be the same.
Interesting. In your last question, you were posing, do whatever it takes for survival. Now you're huddling up to the United States for comfort.
Survival, and it's all the same.
I see. Which brings us to our next question about your survival. It might hurt your philosophy. Since the Atlantic Charter was against the British Empire, it was keeping the empire a part of the key concept of your administration. How do you justify that?
The Atlantic Charter at first was the only thing proposed as an end goal after the war. Before we were running around with chickens like our head cut off. So I looked for the only plan that would happen, and it also worked out that everyone would kind of have a piece of the pie. Regardless of if my piece of the pie was smaller than everyone else's, I was still getting pie.
But saving the British Empire was a key concept of your administration.
Yes.
To keep your power in the world.
I was keeping my power there. It's not like I was losing everything.
But after the war, Britain lost most of its standing in the world. You once led the world in world policy and power, dominating many countries, now a fraction of itself.
Had it once a time, Germany almost had all of Europe, but look at them now, struggling with their economy.
I see how you do things, Mr. Churchill. Thank you for this interview. And we'll be right back after these messages.
The name, Churchill, remember the sound. Mess with my country and you owe me in pounds. I talked to Truman, you got ways to do it, you and by the way, they are inhuman.
My name is Stalin, I'm always ballin'. Call me Russia, your president come calling me. Germany come back, gonna give them a tank-size snack.
Yeah, my name is Truman and I come in your city. I blind all your people, yeah, they never see me. I Luca, Moreland, no but kill attack. I'm the new president, FDR was whack.
Give a big hand and welcome our next guest, the President of the United States of America, Franklin.
Ooh, sorry I'm late, the other guy died.
All right, Mr. Truman. You are now the President of the United States in one of the most darkest days of our world. Germany has risen, Japan hit us hard. What are you gonna do?
Well,
Now, let's get into the Cold War. All right, our first question is, you read the infamous Iron Curtain speech before Churchill presented it to the public. What were your thoughts on the matter?
Well, I felt that the Iron Curtain in itself would greatly affect Europe, and I felt it would give other countries, especially the United States, an upper hand in taking control of what we wanted. I also felt that Europe would be able to bounce back from its dark days and be able to shine into a brighter light, but with immense changes being made to it.
Do you think that you saw the USSR and Stalin as your enemy?
Well, ties could be made, and we are not necessarily enemies, but we are not friends either. As the saying goes, an enemy of an enemy is a friend. So things are being made to necessarily be part of the USSR, and with their help, we feel that we can be a help into the entire globe as one. So yes, we could be.
All right. Our next question is, why did you order 2 nuclear bombs to be dropped on Japan? And do you stand by that decision?
I strongly stand by that decision because I felt it was necessary to help end the war, but not only to end the war, but to prevent more war from coming. It did damage lives and it did affect Japan greatly, but it helped not only the United States, but the rest of the world be safe.
You don't think it was a bit overkill?
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Let's see. Which goes into our next question. Being president is a hard enough job already. Now, you come into the fold later, the world powers, Churchill and Stalin, and now you have to replace the great FDR. How do you feel about this?
Well, I feel it's best that if the policies that were being made haven't changed the outcome of not only wars that have happened in the past, but the silent war that is going on now, there must be changes made, and I feel that I am ready to accept the power and take on the power, even with other world global leaders being strongly and as economically present as ever.
I see. But Franklin D. Roosevelt was perhaps one of the greatest presidents of all time. And a war hero, really. He helped us. He gave the American people the strength they needed to fight this war. And you come in now. Do you think you're a worthy successor to his legacy?
I think I am a worthy successor because I feel that the lightest days of us are ahead of us, and I feel that Franklin D. Roosevelt made a great platform for me to continue on his legacy and for me to help the United States the way that he dreamed and the way that I dream for us to progress as a whole.
Going on that platform thing, there are allegations that you didn't even know we had the nuclear weapons until you became president.
Well, there is a reason why I became president, because to know the things that I didn't know before. And now that I was aware of the power, and if you had an ability to stop the war in one day using only 2 pieces of metal, would you?
Interesting question. Hard to answer, and someone only in your position could ever know. Thank you for your time, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It's been an honor. Back to you.